Çok kritikler var. Dat is wel op zich goed gisteren, hè, van. Hoe heet het nou? Ja. Wat is het? Iets te PC, een showstone? Ja, dat is wel. Hoe kan het niet? Lekker. Wanneer wij dat water gestemd hebben, dan die en dan steeds toe wat nou. Mijn baas gevraagd. Mijn baas heeft ook al hier veel baas. Dat is die website. En die kleine. Dat is die website. Die heeft een krijgen. Ik denk dat wel aardig. Dat is maar één. Het is die laatste. Die heeft het afgevraagd.
It's 1-2, 1-2. It's 1-2, 1-2.
Meneer Pina, 120 kilometer hier regtig. Ja, dit is nog belangrijk. Ek wil nou kans hê om te praat met raak hulle besig wat ek wil sê. Toe wil ek vir hulle sê jy het gesê spoedbeperking, so as hulle minder as dit ry het hulle moeilikheid. Wat gaan nie my jy moet nie wat ons kan meer verdien. En jy moet iets wat daar doen. Moet jy? Ja. Ek wil nou stop en sê maar wat? Jy het net emosies. Ja. Ja. Sien jy emosies.
Recording in progress.
I will allow a few minutes for silent prayer or meditation. Thank you. Honorable members, greetings to all the honorable members here present today and those on the virtual platform. And I want to take this opportunity of welcoming the Minister of Transport, Minister Barbara Cleese. Thank you for making the time to be with us. We appreciate your presence in the House. And I want to also welcome any other deputy ministers, members of SALGA, and MECs that might be in the House or on the virtual platform. Greetings to one and all. Honorable delegates, I would like to remind delegates that the rules, in particular sub-rule 21, 22, and 23 of Rule 103 applies. I've also been informed, honorable delegates, that the subject for debate on the World Food Day and International Day for the Eradication of Poverty has been deferred until further notice. Honorable delegates, I will now allow an opportunity to delegates to give notices of motion. And I want to point out that in terms of the rules, we have 20 minutes for notices of motion. And since this is the first sitting of the NCOP in the 7th administration, where we are doing notices of motion, and I've been also told in terms of the rules, the presiding officer has discretion in terms of allowing the notices of motion to go beyond 20 minutes. So in view of that, I will allow notices of motion that will go beyond 20 minutes. And I have the list of names of members who will be presenting motions today. And that list was done in consultation with all political parties. And therefore, there will be no need for members to raise their hands because I have the names before me. And I will therefore call upon members in terms of the list that I have to present their notices of motion. So we'll first go to notices of motion, and I will call upon the Honorable S. Numalo from the Mpumalanga province to present a motion. And please keep in mind that you have 1.5 minutes to present your motion.
No, thank you very much. Notice of the motion. I hereby give notice that in the next sitting of the Council, I shall move that the Council debate the impact of climate change, global warming in South Africa, and the readiness of provinces and municipalities to respond to disaster that have been caused by the climate change. Number 2, further note that worsening weather conditions as a result of global warming and climate change continue to have a devastating impact on the communities across the country, which demand provinces and municipalities to develop a robust disaster management plan and rapid response to disaster that are caused by climate change and global warming. So I move, Honorable Member.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. I've just been advised that in terms of time, if we can read your motion from your seats, I think that will save us time. And also, I would like to record the apologies as follows. The chairperson of the National Council of Provinces is out of the country, as well as the House Chair, Honorable Ryder, and the Chief Whip is also in Gauteng on the Commission for the Judges. So those are the apologies that we have, and we will table those apologies. The next motion will be from the Honorable Medupe from Northwest Province.
Ke a leboga motlotlegi mo sa kgotla ya ntlo ya rona ya setšhaba sa di-province tse di kopaneng. I hereby move on behalf of the African National Congress that the House in its next sitting debates the concerning and unacceptable rise in numbers of incidents of mass shootings that have been happening across the country. These shootings have caused too much pains and suffering to many families, so I move.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The next motion is from the Honorable Mokoena.
Greetings, Chair. I rise on behalf of the Mkhonto Wesizwe Party and the people of South Africa to move the motion without notice that this House notes with deep concern the alarming state of cancer treatment in South Africa, particularly in patients predominantly rural areas as Mpumalanga, where systematic neglect has happened and has left many without timely access to care. I would like to highlight the distress case in that of a 22-year-old woman hailing from Piet Retief who travels over 200 kilometers to receive treatment. She often arrives too late to be attended to, underscoring the urgent need for a functional and effective rural cancer system. I affirm that the health and well-being of our citizens must be prioritized and comprehensive strategies are required to combat the growing cancer crisis in South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The next motion is from the Honorable Suisa.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters that the Council in its next sitting debates bullying in schools, which is a systematic problem that affects both learners and educators across all provinces and is often linked to mental stress and suicide among children and teenagers. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Suisa. The next motion is from the Honorable Nue, the Free State.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the African National Congress that the House in its next sitting debates the increasing number of young South African women who are being arrested for trafficking drugs from different countries. I so move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nue. We now move on to the next motion, and that is from the Honorable Mpinga.
Thank you, Chair. I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters that the Council in the next sitting debates the urgency of bringing back all the African artifacts and ancestral remains that were taken during the colonial era and are currently held in foreign museums and institutions, particularly in Europe. King Hintsa's head is one such example, but there are countless other cultural treasures scattered around the globe that represent our identity. It is time that the world acknowledges the grave injustices of colonialism and supports the restoration of African dignity through the return of our cultural heritage. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The next motion will come from the Honorable Finnis from the Northern Cape. Honorable Finnis, are you on the platform? We can't hear you. Could you switch on your microphone, please? Honorable Finnis, could you switch on your microphone and video so that we know you are on the platform? We still can't see you. All right, I think we'll move on to the next honorable member while the Honorable Finis sorts out his gadget. The next honorable member will be Honorable Peter.
Thank you, sir. The UDM moves without notice that the House notes the dramatic decline of public trust in the law enforcement agencies in the country, persisting legitimacy problems in the relationship between the police and the residents. Recently, public trust in the police dropped to a low of 27%. Further notes, the recent arrest of 14 police officers, 7 of them were implicated in a murder of a man in Soweto, and another 7 police officers allegedly involved in an extortion against Chinese business owners in Cape Town. I so move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Peter. We now go on to the next motion from the Honorable Van den Berg.
Thank you, Chair. I hereby give notice that on the next sitting of the day of the House, I shall move on behalf of the Freedom Front Plus that the House debate solutions to combat the silo effect from departments within the 3 spheres of government, taking into account that priorities of programs are not aligned throughout departments and a clear counterproductive manner of working can be seen. As with the recent incident in Calvinia, where rails are being lifted by Transnet, but the Minister of Tourism has identified the railway as a potential for tourism and want to keep the railway. Considering also the government's utterance of striving to be an integrated government with complementary programs and priorities, I so move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Van den Berg. Let's try and get Honorable Finis back. Honorable Finis, are you back on the platform? Could you see your face as well as switch on your microphone? No, I don't think Honorable Finis is there, so we'll move on to the next, that is motions without notice. And as I mentioned earlier, I have the list of honorable members. So we'll go on to the first honorable member, and that is Honorable Nomalo.
Thank you very much, Chair. On behalf of the African National Congress, a motion without notice. I hereby move without notice that the Council noted with utmost concern the noticeable number of people or cases on food poisoning in most parts of our country. Number 2, further note that several provinces reported a significant increase in food poisoning cases, especially among children. Further note that in Gauteng alone, the Department of Health has recorded 863 food poisoning incident, resulting in 11 deaths, with the Ekurhuleni district having the most cases, with 119 followed by the city of Johannesburg with 40 cases. Acknowledging that the majority of cases of food poisoning has occurred in township, informal settlement, and hostel where the majority of poor communities live, making food poisoning an emerging health hazard for the poor. And take this opportunity to call the Minister of Agriculture and Small Business Development to wage a concerted battle against the sale of dangerous food products that expose our people for poisoning. So I move. Thank you.
Thank you for the motion. Is there any objection to the motion, honorable members? I don't see any hands, so there's no objections. The motion is agreed to. Can we move on to the next one, and that's from the Honorable Phala?
Thank you, Chair of the session. I hereby move without a notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the House note with sadness the untimely passing away of the first Minister of Labour in the democratic South Africa, the first black governor of Reserve Bank, and a former Minister of Finance, Mr. Tito Mboweni. Comrade Tito Mboweni was born in Tzaneen in Limpopo and later moved to Lesotho when he joined the African National Congress. Comrade Tito served the ANC in many positions including the National Executive Committee, until he retired and went back to Makgoba, where he spent his final days. Comrade Tito was a dedicated public servant who played a pivotal role in shaping South Africa's economic landscape and contribution to our national financial stability and growth. And growth will be remembered for generations to come. Therefore, send our heartfelt condolences to his family, friends, and his organization, the African National Congress. I so move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Is there any objection to the motion? I don't see any hands, or the motion is agreed to. Honorable members, at this point, I would like to point out that the Honorable Minister Creasy would like to be released earlier because of a prior commitment. So we're going to stop the motions for now, and we will take the Honorable Minister's executive statement, and then we'll continue thereafter with the motions. All right, thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Could you please take the podium? And you have 15 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Chairperson, honourable members. An efficient and effective and safe transport system is the lifeblood of a nation and a key to sustainable economic growth. A functioning transport system ferries job seekers to employment opportunities, safely transports learners to school, and enables South African produced goods and commodities to be exported to new markets. However, in recent years, our transport systems have not functioned optimally. Widespread theft and vandalism have negatively affected our road network. Inefficiencies in our ports and broader logistics system has led to severe backlogs and goods not being able to leave our ports timeously. Our passenger transport environment has also changed, as citizens have had to adjust their lives to the unavailability of safe and efficient rail transport. The 2021 National Household Survey paints a picture of grave concern. According to the survey, only 14% of commuters are currently traveling by bus, 2.4% by commuter rail, and the vast majority, 85%, are being transported by minibus taxis. Due to the unaffordability of transport options and the lack of reliable and cheap rail services, almost 20% of commuters have no option other than to walk to their destinations to save money. In the tough fiscal environment in which we find ourselves as a country, the transport system should enable and not hinder economic growth by allowing working class people to better access employment opportunities. Honourable members, today I can share the ways in which the government, which, as you have heard on Monday, was 100 years old, is making improvements in the transport sector and unlocking economic opportunities and bettering the lives of South Africans. Following the Cabinet Lekgotla of this administration, there was broad consensus that the apex priority for government will be inclusive and sustainable economic growth. Along with this primary objective, some of the sub-priorities informing the work of this term include prioritizing infrastructure development, particularly in the transport sector, continuing with the reforms that have been undertaken under Operation Vulindlela, including the introduction of private sector participation in rail and port operations, while the infrastructure remains state-owned, increasing our government's investment in science and technology and upscaling our capacity for innovation, returning all passenger rail corridors to service to provide a low-cost transport option for the working poor, combating infrastructure crime and vandalism, and developing a roadmap for the digital transformation of the public service. All of these align with the work and the policies of the Department of Transport. Emerging from a period of vandalism and infrastructure theft, the Passenger Rail Authority of South Africa has made strides to improve the availability of passenger rail services. 34 out of 40 priority rail corridors have re-entered into service following an extensive program of station and depot refurbishment, meaning that passengers can now access almost 300 stations throughout the country. The re-signaling of these lines is now an ongoing endeavor, which will ensure that trains are arriving at stations more regularly and of course, moving with safety. PRASA has set itself the target of reaching pre-pandemic numbers of 600 million annual passenger trips by the end of this term of office. PRASA's metro rail fleet has also been upgraded and replaced with new electronic multiple unit people's trains. These modern locomotives are equipped with CCTV, automated doors and air conditioning, with designated areas for passengers who are disabled or who have young children. October is National Transport Month, and during the course of the past 2 weeks, Deputy Minister Hlengwa and I have been visiting different parts of the country to witness the improvements that are happening in the rail and road transport spaces. Last week, I visited the Crossmoor to Merebank rail line in eThekwini, where I witnessed the work that is being done to restore stations and infrastructure affected by vandalism and the floods that affected the city in 2022. The refurbishing of this line alone has created 200 jobs and employed the services of 12 micro enterprises who are now responsible for maintaining and cleaning the stations. This line's re-entry into service will improve the availability of public transport options for eThekwini citizens, with a train ticket from Crossmoor to Durban costing only R7.50, a third of the price for the same trip by other means of transport. By upgrading our infrastructure, we are making safe and affordable public transport available to our people. Honourable members, as I have stated, the revitalization of the rail sector is one of the priorities of this administration, and this extends to the freight and logistics sector. In order to achieve this, government has initiated a number of policies that see that Transnet will eventually meet pre-pandemic performance levels. A key policy in this regard is the Freight Logistics Roadmap. The roadmap has key areas of focus, including the security of the rail network, operational improvements, and a capital investment program. The National Logistics Crisis Committee, coordinated by the Presidency, has been tackling the logistics crisis through a number of work streams, one of which is looking at private sector participation in the national rail and port logistics system. The work stream is developing a framework for third-party participation that will maximize the resources and expertise of both government and the private sector, with the aim of improving the performance of the logistics sector and contributing to economic growth. Key areas of focus include strategic logistics corridors handling commodities that are essential to the export market, such as coal and iron ore, addressing backlogs and congestion at strategic border crossings, combating congestion in key national highway corridors such as the N1 and the N3, as well as interventions to combat cable theft and maintenance backlogs at Transnet. Honourable members, our roads network also connect communities and facilitate economic development through the movement of people and goods between urban and rural South Africa. SANRAL is responsible for more than 23,000 kilometers of road across the country. However, while the entity is responsible for only 4% of the road network, this 4% carries 40% of all annual vehicle traffic, 60% of freight, and 70% of road freight. The maintenance of this network is key to ensuring that road users are safe and able to reach their destinations on time. Last week, I visited a number of sites that form part of the N2, N3 upgrade program in KwaZulu-Natal. The upgrades to these strategic roads will address congestion, increase safety, and reduce travel times. Crucially, this upgrade program is helping to provide employment opportunities for local communities. The construction projects along the N3 alone will create an estimated 35,000 jobs, with 2.3 billion to be spent on wages for local labor and 8.8 billion aimed to be spent on Black-owned micro-enterprises over the next 8 years. Road safety continues to be a priority for government. More than 11,000 people are killed on our roads annually, and this figure cannot be accepted or normalized. We are addressing this in 2 ways: working to increase patrolling and law enforcement, and taking measures to change driver behavior. The department and its entities will continue the important work of road safety education campaigns. Continuous engagement is needed with provinces to see that traffic policing of our roads is conducted 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The National Road Safety Strategy is being reformulated in a way that will address these issues, with the ultimate aim of decreasing the number of road fatalities and making sure that our roads are safer for both drivers and pedestrians. The department is in the process of monitoring the money allocated to provinces through the Provincial Roads Management Grant. Following the money will help us determine how money is being spent in provinces and whether citizens are getting value for the money spent on road maintenance and road upgrades. We are in the process of establishing a working group with SALGA to support the classification of roads in municipalities. This will enable municipalities facing infrastructure challenges to access the municipal infrastructure grant for the maintenance of part of their road network. The majority of South Africans relying on public transport use minibus taxis, and the sector cannot be excluded from planning and policy development in the transport space. It is the intention of this administration to review the taxi recapitalization process. We have listened to the industry, and we are aware that the current dispensation is too expensive and unaffordable for many drivers and owners. We need to properly integrate all modes of public transport for passengers to move seamlessly from one destination to another. This means we must assess the measures that we have already taken in this regard and change our approach where necessary. One of the reviews that is urgent is the functionality and the appropriateness of the bus rapid transit programs, which are not working well in many municipalities. As we continue to improve our transport systems, we must also embrace new technology. These include using automated cargo tracking systems at our ports, cashless ticketing regimes for different modes of public transport, and the use of remote observation and AI to secure critical infrastructure such as rail depots and rail lines. All of these are being considered by the department and its entities and are in the process of being introduced in order to modernize our systems and ensure we have an efficient, safe, and smart transport sector. Honourable members, improvements are happening in the transport landscape that will ensure that our people arrive at work on time, that goods reach their intended export markets, and that passengers and pedestrians reach their destinations safely. It is through these measures that government is ensuring that our economy grows and the lives of working people are improved. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. I think that gives us a good insight into the improvements in the transport sector. We now move on to the responses, and I will call upon the Honourable Mabebo. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chairperson. The ANC has long supported the provision of a safe and efficient, fully integrated transport system. The efficient transport of people, goods, freight, and services is a critical input for economic development. Moreover, the ANC has been supportive of an efficient commuter transport system which benefits the working class and poor. The effort of government in the previous parliament was towards restoration and modernization of the commuter rail system and the development of the BRT bus service in different municipalities. PRASA has made much progress in the restoration of rail corridors through opening 31 out of 40 rail corridors and launching the 200 locally manufactured train sets. PRASA has also made good progress in the recovery and development of rail stations. This has resulted in increased passenger numbers in all provinces from a low of 5 million to now nearly 40 million passengers per annum. More progress in the development of commuter rail infrastructure will be recorded in the financial year. Commuter rail is cheap, safe, and efficient mode of transport whose increased development will benefit both the people and the economy of the country. The increase in the number of municipalities introducing the BRT system is a positive sign of improving the efficiency of the public road transport. Passengers numbers which are currently low will organically grow for the development of economical scales. This should not deter the development of the integrated and affordable public transport system. This serves as a firm foundation for integration of the rail and road public transport system. Minister of our people need to feel safe when using public transport. Improving the safety for passengers utilizing commuter transport, both in terms of rail and road, is critical as this encourages greater usage of public transport, increasing economies of scale. Improving operational safety of rail and road safety is also a critical part of providing an efficient, safe, and reliable public transport system. Far too many road accidents are occurring with the tragic loss of life. Recently, rail accidents have also occurred. Improved safety must be part of the development of transport and infrastructure. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. We now move on to the next Honourable Member, and that is Honourable Skrikoko.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Honourable Minister, when you move people, you move money. For too long, South Africans, along with our tourists, our businesses, have suffered from frustration, incompetence, and financial strain of the outdated and broken transport system. This isn't just a frustration, but it's a barrier to opportunity, growth, and dignity. We need a transport system that is safe, reliable, and affordable for all. A system that truly serves an open opportunity to society. The ability to change lives, to empower communities, and to drive economic growth lies in our ability to move. Without mobility, people are cut off from the very opportunities that lift them out of poverty, advance their careers, or support their families. Our rail network is one of our country's greatest untapped resources, yet it's crumbling under poor management, leaving fewer and fewer trains available. But imagine a South Africa where our railway and public transport are a lifeline, not a frustration. Imagine trains and buses running seamlessly, connecting people to work, education, and opportunity. We can make this vision a reality. We can transform our railway system into a network that moves both people and goods between towns and cities, unlocking countless economic opportunities. One key step is in the transformation is to the introduction of a single multi-use ticket, making public transport easier and more accessible for all. Commuter rail alongside BRT systems is key to reducing the congestion in our cities, expanding our networks and introducing faster, more efficient services must be top priorities, but particularly in our high density residential areas and airports. To build a world-class air transport system, we need to embrace innovation. That means developing BRTs, monorails, light rails, and high-speed trains wherever feasible. It means speeding up the restoration of our rail network. And the key is to rebuilding this network is devolving national powers to capable local metros and provinces to create a transport authorities who understands their own transport needs. The solution is here. Private-public participation. Proven concepts like BOT or ROT can fast-track the transformation of our railways. This collaboration is key to boosting our infrastructure, reuniting our economy, and creating thousands of new jobs. This is what the GNU calls for, infrastructure that drives opportunity for all South Africans. You can create a transport system that not only moves people, but move the entire nation forward. One that connects, empowers, and fuels the growth of every South African. Minister, in closing, it's really encouraging to see how many of your priorities is in line with the DA transport policy. It's very well for the GNU moving forward. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Skirkoko. We now move on to the Honorable MEC for Finance from the Eastern Cape, the Honorable Mvoko. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, the Minister of Transport, and all members of Parliament present here today. Honorable Chairperson, as a province, we acknowledge in full support of the statement by the Minister that a safe, reliable, effective, efficient, and fully integrated transport system is a cornerstone of a thriving economy and is an enabler for economic growth. We are a province that requires an urgent attention from national government to address the historic infrastructure backlogs. With that said, we are, however, undertaking a number of projects to address these historical backlogs, particularly on infrastructure projects. The integrated transport infrastructure, the Department of Transport in the Eastern Cape is not fully integrated in terms of passenger transport, but is providing subsidized public transport to commuters who do not have access to affordable transportation. We're also providing transportation to deserving learners through the Scholar Transport program. However, the program is battling with financial challenges. The number of learners has increased while the budget remains the same. We've established a provincial rail committee to encourage both Transnet and VASA to invest in the revival of rail in the province. And part of the initiatives have yielded tangible results. The department is in the process of reviving the flight strategy so that the back to rail strategy can be realized. Honorable Chairperson, with the investment of 8 billion rand so far, we note and appreciate the great work and progress made in strategic road infrastructure implemented by SANRAL in the province. However, in conclusion, Honorable Chairperson, the roads conditions in the Eastern Cape province remain a concern, and our major challenge is underfunding, which we all know is due to the province's fiscal status. And another challenge confronting the province is the issue of abnormal weather conditions and climate change. These abnormal weather conditions are posing a significant risk to our road infrastructure. In the past 2 years, We experienced heavy rainfalls and floods that swept away bridges and caused huge damage to our road infrastructure. Scientists believe that climate change is responsible for the droughts and floods along the eastern coastline. The abnormal weather conditions have caused more than a 3 billion rand infrastructure backlog. Important to highlight is that 90% of our roads are gravel roads that require frequent maintenance due to these abnormal weather conditions. As a provincial government, we rely and heavily believe that the national government will come into the party now and assisting us with additional funding to ensure that we dent the 3 billion rand infrastructure backlog in the province. We hope that the new minister of transport will positively respond to our cries. However, as I indicated earlier,
your time has expired. Thank you
you,
for your
Honourable Chair.
input. We move on to the next honourable member, that's the Honourable Makasini. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chairperson. The economic freedom fighter is deeply concerned of how your department has failed to address many chronic and often fatal problems that are facing the road transportation in our country. Transport needs such as safety, shorter travel time, less overcrowding, affordable taxi fares, reducing walking distance, and improve access to facility remain a challenge, Minister, for the black majority of our people. This is a country where the vast majority of its population depend on a public transport for their economic and social in general activity. The railway system in this country has also collapsed, Minister, which also led to increase of a heavy truck on the roads, which has led to many accidents involving the trucks on our road. Minister, continue to subject our people to unsafe, unreliable, costly system of the transport is unfair. As most of our modes of transport are not available, especially in the rural areas, to cater the old people and the people living with disability, that cause a serious hazard for our people. South Africa is one of the highest road fatality rate caused by the state of road infrastructure. To defining the silence of your Department for Transport to address these matters with urgency they deserve. The Department of Transport also through the years failed to prioritize the scholar transport to ensure not only the safety of young learners not to arrive at school, but the failure of the young people to attend the school regularly because of the issue of the transport. The example of 105 at the road 540 regional road from Belfast to Mashishini is one of example where the passengers, the road users, most of the time are the effect of the road accident. Areas like Kwakwa Mononza, the people who are traveling with the wheelchair, they don't get public transport because the roads are not friendly where Honorable Noah is coming from. Our public transport system does not center for the people who are using wheelchair. Roads in the rural areas such as Matatiele, Ituwa in the Eastern Cape are such of the glaring example where not all the mode of a vehicle can use those roads. Funeke basebenzisa amabhayiki baqabele ngasemva because izibhayiki xa ezikwazi ukuhamba kwezo ndlela. The department is also sub-national department, has also failed to eradicate pothole in majority of the municipality, especially the access road in all our municipality. I can mention all of the minister, you know in Machabeng, you know in Thabo Mfutshanyana, you know in Mahlazeni and in Komas.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Your time has expired.
Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you. The next Honourable Member is Honourable Mokoena. You have 3 minutes.
Chair, can you please pass me for this round? I'll come back if you don't mind.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to the Honourable Mananiso.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Honourable Minister, for your extensive statement that speaks to the department work to provide a safe, reliable and effective, efficient and fully integrated transport operation and infrastructure. We are particularly happy that your statement has also outlined government interventions to meet the needs of freight and passenger customers and improve levels of services. Honorable Minister, South Africa bears a high burden of road fatalities in Africa, accounting to 25 fatalities per 100,000 population. The total number of road fatalities have fluctuated over the years, reaching an all-time high of 15,000 fatalities in 2006. A study in 2015 found that road traffic crashes have continued to be the 9th leading cause of death for 15 years in the country, claiming an average of about 4% of overall deaths during those years. Honorable Minister, road fatalities portray only part of the problem. Historical data suggests that for every fatality on the road, there are alarming cases of serious injuries and instability. It has been estimated that road accidents and crashes cost the South African road network an estimated 143 billion every year, equating to 3.4% of the country's GDP. In comparison, cost of road traffic crashes in low and middle income countries is found to be just above 2% of their GDP. Honorable Minister, road fatalities and injuries also place a high financial burden on our individuals and involved in crashes. The average hospital care provided to a pedestrian or passenger involved in a crash costs approximately 80,000 per admission, which places a burden on our healthcare system. Honorable Minister, would want you to actually employ during this transport month that we must have awareness campaigns and as well visible policing, so that you partner as well with SAPS in terms of ensuring that our roads are safe and people can move without hindrance. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mananiso. The next honorable member is Honorable Nue. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. In acknowledging what the Minister has tabled before this House, we just want to put forward that despite the available modes of transportation in South Africa, transport is still plagued with several challenges. And this, amongst others, comprise of lack of public transport accessibility, especially in the rural areas, as Honorable my colleague from EFF has tried to portray about where I'm coming from. It's not exactly as you say, but indeed there's a challenge of accessibility, and the other challenge is equity, imbalance, and congestion, specifically in taxis, ranks, and the buses. You will see it here in Cape Town, where I've been able to walk around buses where they are. People really are congested, and even the taxis. And the traffic jams, which you will also find in many of the small taxis ranks, which are referred to as 4+1. This, in most instances, Deputy Chair, they really expose our commuters to drivers' harassment. However, I will just want to quote or refer to what the former MEC of Transport in the province has committed to the current Honorable Premier Makwini Letsoa Mathai, that focus on transport regulations. It is important to make sure that law and order is maintained on our roads. By so doing is to prioritize and provide for quality traffic officials to man the traffic, and also quality traffic policing services by way of deploying traffic officials who will ensure that indeed the public observe traffic regulations. Finally, Chair, just to confirm the issue of the traffic jam, on my way here on Monday, I spent 2 hours on a traffic jam to the airport. I almost missed my flight, and the truck had to even bump on my car a truck because of the traffic jam. So indeed, our South African roads needs serious attention. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Noah. The next honorable member is Honorable Billy. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Deputy Chair, Honorable Minister. I want to start by sending our condolences to the families of the Mandeni accident, which recently happened in Mandeni, KwaZulu-Natal, resulting in 15 learners being injured and some passing away. We want to send our condolences to them and want to stress, Minister, that sadly, this is one of the reasons that we must look deep into learner transport program and the safety and its operations across the country, because this is a problem not just for KZN, but for the country. Minister, a safe and reliable transport system is crucial for the economic growth of our country and our province of KwaZulu-Natal. It is crucial for the quality of life for our people. KZN is the gateway to Southern Africa, with our ports, road, and railways forming the backbone of our trade and the entire region. It is encouraging, Minister, to see that the railway system is finally being fixed in the province, and that you've noted that, and we thank the provincial government of KwaZulu-Natal, led by the Premier Tamintuli, who's working tirelessly to repair our system, our railway systems in the province, specifically in eThekwini municipality. However, we must stress this, Minister, that a lot of investment is needed to upgrading and maintaining our transport infrastructure in our country and in the province that I come from, which is KwaZulu-Natal. And we must do more to develop transport system that reduces road congestion, improves safety, and improves economic growth of our country. Minister, you spoke about embracing technology. You are quite correct. We must embrace technology across board, including the taxi industry, which at times seems to be quite resistant to wanting to evolve. And I think the department must lead the process of bringing in technology, bringing in improvements in how it's being done, especially in terms of professionalizing taxi industry in KwaZulu-Natal and in the country. And I want to challenge the department, Minister, that a lot needs to be done in this regard. In KwaZulu-Natal, we've got systems such as the Go Durban, which is not working, a 9 billion project, which has been stopped and frustrated by private individuals, particularly the taxi associations. And the department needs to play a leading role to ensure that that is being rectified. The same project we've got in Msunduzi, a 1 billion project. That project has also not been operating because of various interference from private individuals. And I think the Department of Transport has got a huge role to play, because these projects and
thank you very much, Honorable Billy. Your time has expired.
People. Thank you.
Thank you. We now move on to the Honorable Briet. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. South Africa has a road network of over 750,000 kilometers and a rail network of just under 25,000 kilometers, yet our infrastructure is in a state of disrepair. I read an article that said, the failure of its rail system threatens South Africa's national economy with a projected loss of tens of thousands of jobs in mining and agriculture and severe cuts to tax revenue. Years of bad policy, neglect of maintenance, a 50 billion rand backlog in 2023, corruption and incompetence are visibly expressed in severe clogged ports and broken roads. And I think this perfectly sums up the situation we are currently in. We can all tell stories of roads that were once in a good state and that now are undrivable, and others that we drive next to the road instead of on it because you can't. In Verkykerskop in the Free State, For example, the community, with the approval of the roads department, actually broke up the tarmac and turned the main street into a gravel road. The farmers in the area take turns to grate the road, and it is lovely to drive. And this is just how communities have had to become involved to stop the decay to our infrastructure. For more than a century, South Africa had the continent's biggest and most efficient rail and port network, with more active route kilometers than the rest of sub-Saharan Africa combined. But now much of this network lies idle or derelict. And according to many people, somewhat 80% of railway stations in the country were looted during the coronavirus pandemic. Verder, Minister, is daar een groot probleem. Dit is die silo-werking van departemente binne die regering. En 'n voorbeeld, my kollega het dit voorheen genoem. In Kalvinia in die Noord-Kaap beplan die minister van toerisme om die treinspoornetwerk te gebruik vir astrotourisme, maar Transnet is tans besig om die einste spoorweg te verwyder. Daar is geen kommunikasie nie en dit lei tot 'n negatiewe ekonomiese impak op die gemeenskappe. Ek stem saam, ons het 'n veilige, betroubare, effektiewe, doeltreffende en vol geïntegreerde vervoernetwerk nodig, veral om Suid-Afrika aan die voorpunt van Afrika se ontwikkeling en die ekonomiese groei te hou. Dit gaan slegs gedoen kan word deur met ander departemente saam te werk, korrupsie uit te roei, seker te maak die skuldiges ry aan die pen, bevoegde kontrakteurs aan te stel wat deeglik kan beplan en om die nodige oorsig te doen om te verseker dat projekte op tyd en op begroting voltooi word. Agbare minister, jare se verval en instandhouding wat nie gedoen is nie, het ons in hierdie tamaletjie gedompel. As u bereid is om soms onpopulêr te wees en die bil by die horings te pak en alles wat verkeerd is met ons vervoerinfrastruktuur reg te ruk, dan sal ons saam met u staan. Ek dank u.
Thank you very much, Honorable Briat. We now move on to Honorable Mokwele. You have 3 minutes.
Thanks very much, Deputy Chair, and also greeting to the Honorable Minister. And also we want to appreciate you for being in this house, always be with us. Honorable Minister, maybe first and foremost, let me note your presentation to say that indeed your presentation, it shows that your department has made strides since the dawn of democracy. And you also indicated, Minister, that you will always emphasize effectiveness and efficiency in the transport system, which we also acknowledge that as the African National Congress. Minister, when you were presenting, you also indicated in terms of percentage that in the main, I'm not going to dwell on other percent. You indicated that 85% mainly depend on bus and taxis. Minister, I want to appreciate your department that, I mean, since you take over in this department, indeed, there is stability in the taxi industry. I mean, Chairperson or honorable members, what I can tell you, I mean, since you take over, we get even less incidents of taxi violence, which we can safely say that they are not even non-existent. But Minister, on the issue of buses, maybe I'll just give reference to Limpopo province, where I'm coming from, whereby I just want to indicate that mode of transport system, which majority of the commuters in Limpopo, they depend on, that mode of transport has collapsed, Minister. I know that the Honorable Premier of Limpopo, Dr. Ramatuba, during her first address, she made a commitment that he will make sure that he revive that mode of transport. So I just want to make an appeal to you, Honorable Minister. I know that you are capable, you can assist in making sure that that mode of transport that the people of Limpopo depend on, it is revived. Lastly, Honorable Minister, you indicated that currently there is availability of different mode of transport, which I will agree with you, because now it is easy when you want to use the flight, it is even easy when you want to use the train and other modes. So meaning that there is a different mode of transport. But Minister, you also indicated that you visited different provinces, checking the rail system, which I also wanted you to go to the to Limpopo.
Honourable Member,
and
your
even
time
Gauteng,
has expired.
so that you can see the strike. Thank you, but we really appreciate the presentation.
The next Honourable Member is Honourable Nzimande.
No, thanks, Deputy Chair. Good afternoon, honorable members and the Minister. I guess we'll not be telling the truth to the public and to the voters if we say there is a noticeable progress. That would be totally incorrect. I stay in township and in the rural area too, where I come from. But secondly, we have raised this thing, Minister, previously, that it can't be correct that policy does not influence your planning, including your APP. I hear you today, you are talking definitely again on some policy shifts when already you came before us with the implementing instrument, which is APP, and it shows a serious challenge. But furthermore, we want to emphasize the facts that you have raised, that definitely the lack of sound and responsive integrated transport system perpetuate the ills of apartheid, including the unbalanced spatial structure. This government, including this government of coalition, grand coalition, has not made significant strides even in these two quarters. Second quarter. After 8 years, still really South Africans, cities are characterized by unbalanced spatial structure as consequence of legacy of apartheid, which resulted, which I guess you have noted properly, long commutes, high transport costs, low or lower labor productivity and overall unproductivity status. But there is also a fundamental issue for policy consideration, which I guess the Minister will have to look into, leakages to the current funding system by the national government through the National Treasury and National Transport, Department of Transport. For local and provincial sphere of government, calls for policy shift to ensure that it does not only cover the funding for line haul, but to access and egress as public transport planning occurs at that lower level or sphere of government. Despite the intended outcome, obviously in terms of the NDP and the National Planning Commission, we as South Africans, there is no significant stride made to make investment in the transport sector for purpose of improving accessibility and to bridge geographic distances affordably, foster reliable and safely so that all South Africans access previous inaccessible economic opportunities.
Thank you very much,
Social
Honourable Member.
spaces.
Your time has
As
expired.
MK,
Thank you.
we still push what we have raised to you.
Thank
and
you, Honourable
Minister,
Member. Please take your seat.
our policy position, which you noted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next Honourable Member is Honourable Peter. Honourable Peter, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair. Good evening, Minister. Minister, in Afrikaans ons het die tyd om te speel. Die tyd is weg, meneer, asseblief. Now, the time that we do have is the time to act. Minister, we can't go further in our rural areas. We can't go even to our funerals. We have to park our car 15 kilometers away where we're supposed to go. So, Minister, this government of national unity must produce fruits. We don't want to produce something that we cannot eat. UDM stands firmly, Minister, by saying the South African public transport sector is facing a critical crisis marked by escalating violence, including minibus strikes and extortion within the taxi industry. Minister, our people are killing each other in our business. Taxes. All the black taxis, people are killing each other. We need your interventions. The second one, this mode of transport, Minister, there is no safety and security to our commuters. People are traveling by bus, ministers, are robbed inside the bus. People are traveling by train, ministers, are robbed inside the trains. We need more policing. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Peter. The next member is the Honorable Makhabane from the Mpumalanga.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, Honorable members, Honorable Minister. It gives me an immense pride to stand before this august house to make some reflections on behalf of the Mpumalanga people and also the African National Congress on this critical executive member statement. For the people of the Rising Sun, we wish to agree with the main essence and content of the executive due to our lived experiences of the challenges of transport logistics in our province. Critical to our daily lives experiences, the high level of accidents in the main logistics corridors passing our province and damage caused to our road infrastructure daily due to the road freights transporting goods from other provinces, either going to Mozambique Harbour, Port of Durban, or Richards Bay. For the people of Mpumalanga, we plead with you, Minister, to consider the improving the train transport logistics for the Maputo corridor. The Maputo corridor logistics is a significant trade route that has historically connected the industrial and commercial heartland of South Africa to the deep water port of Maputo. In more recent times, Honorable Deputy Chair, the Maputo Logistics Corridor has played an increasingly important role in the export of minerals and commodities, accommodating up to 30 million tons of freight per annum. The key elements of this transport corridor are the N4 toll road, the rail corridor, the Libombo or Sano Gashia border post, and the port and terminal facility at the port of Maputo and Matola. The challenges of freight along the Maputo corridor has currently led to a high road carnages, violent crime as criminals hijack trucks and kill truck drivers, and worse, the trucks cause long logistical transport congestions, which has devastating effects to movement of people, especially around the Nkomazi area. We also still request a speedy resolution of the Miloto corridor, which is implemented successfully, will relieve transport congestion on the deadly Miloto road. With those words, we wish to appreciate the executive's member statement and support Minister's effort in providing a safe, reliable, effective, efficient, and fully integrated transport operation and infrastructure that meets the needs of freight and passenger customers, improving levels of service and cost in a fashion that supports government strategies for economic and social development. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mahabane. The next honorable member is Honorable Mabilo. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Deputy Chair and Honorable Minister. Let me start by extending my heartfelt condolences to the families in Richie, 7 of them who passed away on the N12 road, in which is my constituency. Honorable Deputy Chair, the ANC supports a fully integrated transport system that meets the needs of commuter transport and freight transport. Transport in terms of rail and road is a key driver for inclusive economic growth and job creation. The transport sector links people with social services and markets, and also links markets to other markets. It is difficult to conceptualize the implementation of the district development model without an integrated commuter and freight transport system. Most provinces where mining and agriculture is concentrated require efficient rail and road transport for the sale of minerals and agriculture products. Infrastructure development in terms of rail and road is critical for inclusive economic development and job creation. Government has adopted a policy of moving goods from road to rail. This is important to reduce the number of heavy-duty trucks on the roads, which increases road maintenance. However, this means the development of Transnet freight rail services to ensure that it is able to receive freight and deliver freight. It also means the refurbishing of old locomotives to ensure that there are rail services available for the movement of goods from road to rail. Regulated freight rail tariffs have priced Transnet out of the market. Therefore, it is important to come with innovative means. Minister, we support the executive statement. It is bold, it is imaginative, and it inspires hope. We support. Thank you, Deputy Chair.
Thank you very much. We now move on to the next honorable member, and that's Honorable Egwase. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair. The Northwest Province supports an effective, efficient, and fully integrated transport system that meets the need of freight and passengers. The transport system must positively contribute to the improving of the quality of life of the people. This support by the province has reflected itself in the programs and budget of the Department of Community Safety and Transport Management, and it also reflects itself in the budget transfers to PRASA and SANRAL for road and rail development. Restoration, modernization, and infrastructure development in the transport sector has grown and is starting to bear fruits. It is obvious that the process is still to be completed and ensure integration of the transport system. However, our claim, humbly put, is that a firm foundation has to be laid which makes further infrastructure development possible. Minister, efficiency and cost of transport must be important drivers to enable growth of the sector of both in terms of commuter transport, good and freight transport. The increased cost of living means it is imperative that commuter transport is maintained at the cheapest possible price to the benefit of the working class and that of the poor. It is strange how quick public transport cost increases, but whenever transport and diesel prices are lowered, the cost of road transport is not lowered. It is imperative that Department of Transport monitors the price of public transport in terms of road and trail to the benefit of the working class and the poor. Currently, the transport subsidy benefits the bottom line of the established bus companies, and therefore the change of focus by government in the transport subsidy will be welcomed. Minister, the subsidy must benefit consumers, mitigate against public transport price increases. The movement of trail and goods from inland markets to ports is critical to the export of goods and trade and freight. Inland provinces also depend on the ports of the imports of goods. Therefore, transport infrastructure development is critical for the local industrialization and agricultural development in our province. Freight transport by the rail needs efficient improvement as the inland provinces depend on rail road transport for the movement of goods and freight to different markets in the country, as well as the cost of the exporting of these goods. The intention of the integrated public transport system between rail and road must ensure that working class people spend less time on road and have more family time, thereby improving the quality of life of the people. It must also ensure that the working class and poor communities have more disposable income. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Egwase. We now move on to the Honorable Farmer. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair. Honorable Minister, honorable members.
The availability of disability accessible public transportation varies across the country. The Go George bus network and the Gautrain in Gauteng are fully accessible to those traveling in a wheelchair. Cape Town's municipal government also has a 24-hour call center for service information. On the other hand, it's highly unlikely that a minibus taxi will accommodate passengers with disabilities. A number of public bus companies in South Africa offer disability accessible transport, sometimes bolstered by government funding. These include the following: Cape Town, My City's Dial Ride, Durban Dial Ride, Johannesburg Metrobus Rea Vaya, Pretoria, Ariheng, Tshwane bus services. Trains and train stations in South Africa are generally accessible to those with limited mobility. Although this is not uniformly the case, Gautrain is a leader in transport accessibility in South Africa. All train stations are fully accessible, and at least half of their bus fleet is too. Many private companies offer accessible transportation as alternatives to the regular public offerings. These include the following: Charlie's Care, Pro Mobility, Quad Para Association of South Africa, Travel with Renee. Some taxi companies and ride-hailing apps also provide accessible services, such as Uber Assist, available in Cape Town and Johannesburg. This situation has a lot more room for improvement. Some municipalities in South Africa have started rolling out low-emission or emission-free buses, including Cape Town, Limpopo, and Tshwane. However, obstacles remain when it comes to implementing a more environmentally friendly transportation network. South African cities are plagued by poor urban planning and street design, with an insufficient amount of charging stations. Safety levels on public transportation in South Africa tend to vary depending on how you're traveling and who you're asking for advice. Despite apocalyptic claims that a South African train journey is begging to be robbed at gunpoint, millions of people experience a completely uneventful commute by train every single day. Although many minibus taxis are perfectly roadworthy, too many are not. Obviously, this is not to say that train travel in South Africa is perfectly safe. It's not.
Thank you, Honorable Farmer. Your time is up.
Chair.
Thank you. The next member is Honorable Badenost. You have 3 minutes.
Honorable Deputy Chairperson, Honorable Minister, Honorable Members. As Chairperson of the Select Committee on Transport, I'd like to congratulate the Honorable Minister on their reflections in this House today on a safe, reliable, efficient and fully integrated transport operation that meets the needs of freight and passenger customers. However, Minister, as the Western Cape Permanent Delegate, may I remind you that a fully transformative transport operation must be fully inclusive and has to cater for the needs of all passengers relying on its services. It needs to be universally accessible. Unlike my colleague here from the Patriotic Alliance, who seem to have discovered ChatGPT, the fact of the matter, though, is, Minister, is that many train stations in Cape Town are inaccessible to commuters with disabilities and difficult for the elderly and children, as there are no ramps and lifts that are broken. Minister, please go and look for yourself. The blue-colored trains, dubbed the people's trains, are higher than the platform, making it difficult to board for many people and impossible to board without help for people using wheelchairs. People in wheelchairs have to ask other passengers for help getting on and off the train. Once they're on the train, there is a wheelchair section, as you mentioned, but they have to get on the train first. At Nyanga Junction, there are stairs, then a short ramp, and then several dozen stairs to the top. The station does have lifts, but they do not work. And even if the lifts did work, people in wheelchairs would have to ask other passengers to carry them up and down several steps to the lift. At several stations, including Wynberg, Observatory, and Stierhof, the subway and bridges are not accessible to people in wheelchairs. At Lentegeer and Mandalay train stations, the lifts have not operated for years, Minister.
Minister, people with disabilities should enjoy equal rights as other commuters without discrimination. The passenger rail agency responsible for this blatant disregard of the needs of our most vulnerable citizens reports to you, Minister. On behalf of the most vulnerable and of vulnerable citizens, I implore you to heed their call for assistance, or alternatively, Minister, to evolve the function of passenger rail services to a capable and caring metro like the City of Cape Town, as outlined in the white paper on the National Rail Policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Badenhorst. We'll now call upon the Honourable Minister to respond to those members who took part in this debate. Honourable Creasy, you have 5 minutes.
Honourable Deputy Chairperson, I thought you'll give me my 1.5 minutes I had left over from the beginning.
You have my 30 seconds as well.
Thank you. Then I've got 2 minutes. Honourable members, let me first of all thank you all very much for participation in this debate, as well as thank you to the MECs from provinces who also participated. I think we're all agreed that rail has to be the backbone of both passenger and freight transport systems because it has the potential to be cheap, safe, accessible, and reliable. In this regard, we obviously need considerably more investment in our rail system, and this investment has to come from government, from loan financing, and also from private sector participation. We are working on the National Rail Master Plan, and that National Rail Master Plan will lay out the future for the next 20 years of the rail system that we want to create. On the question of devolution, we are looking into it, and obviously devolution, let me say that we think that planning by municipalities and provinces in their transport systems is crucial. With regard to devolution, I suppose the question is going to be threshold in terms of passenger numbers and finances. And that policy is being developed, and I do hope that by the end of the year, we will be able to put it out for public comment. With regard to the upgrade of provincial roads, we have already given SANRAL a number of roads that they will upgrade. These are key economic arterial roads in provinces, and I am in the process of informing provincial premiers and MECs of transport on that process. We are setting up, as I said, this working group with SALGA, which we think is going to be very important in terms of making sure that the MIG money that is spent, that is supposed to be spent on upgrades and maintenance of municipal roads, is actually spent on that. We're reworking the climate strategy, the Transport Climate Resilience and Adaptation Plan, because as honourable members point out, there's considerable damage being done to our infrastructure, and we need a long-term plan for how we're going to do that. With regard to buses, I think the fundamental issue, honourable members, is the subsidisation. And we are currently reviewing the whole subsidy system, because as things stand at the moment, there isn't enough money in the subsidy system for everybody who wants financing. And we need to look at all sources of state money and come to a decision in that regard. Many members have spoken about the importance of safety. There are 2 areas that I would want to ask provinces to support me on. The first is this question of provincial traffic police patrolling roads at night and on weekends. That is when the major offences occur, and you need to help me in this regard. The second is that we need a common dispensation with regard to scholar transport. One of the problems about monitoring scholar transport is it's located in different places in different provinces, and it makes it very difficult to have a common approach. The issue of technology, I think it's important to say that Santaka is developing a cashless payment system, and I think that's a wonderful innovation. Lastly, criminality and organized crime in our society must be dealt with by the police, whether it is in the taxi industry or whether it's preventing road upgrading projects. And I am pleased to say that myself and the Minister of Safety are in discussion on how we deal with organized crime in our sector. Honourable members, thank you once again for the debate. I think it has been interesting and productive, and I look forward to your support going forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. And you can see that your request to leave by 3:30, we have kept to time. And we want to thank you once again for availing yourself and for your executive statement. And you are welcome in the NCOP at any time. Thank you very much. We'll now go back, honourable members, to the motions, and I will call upon the Honourable Badenhorst to do the motion without notice.
Thank you, Chair. I hereby move on behalf of the Democratic Alliance that this council notes that Dr. Jolyn Phillips, born and bred in Blompark, Gansbaai, Oeverstrand, has recently obtained a doctorate for her trailblazing literary epic, Bintang Ngao Gedig. Further notes that in doing so, has become the first female person of color to write an Afrikaans epic, the first person to write an Afrikaans epic about a heroine of color, the first person to write an Afrikaans epic encompassing a wide variety of Afrikaans forming a kind of idiolect, the first person to write an Afrikaans epic that actively undermines or re-questions the accepted notion of an epic, and finally the first person to write an Afrikaans epic as part of a PhD. Remembers that the oldest epic recognized is the Epic of Gilgamesh, some 2,500 to 1,300 before Christ, and is some 4,000 years old. It is extraordinary that an Afrikaans epic poem like Bintang, an epic about an indigenous woman, written by an indigenous woman, is published almost 4,000 years later. Congratulates Dr. Jolyn Phillips on her invaluable contribution in ensuring that the stories of South Africa have the same literary longevity as well as the stories and histories of indigenous people of South Africa. Wherefore this House acknowledges especially her great passion to contribute towards the indigenous histories of the Oeverstrand and Oeverberg regions. I so move.
Thank you, Honourable Badenhorst. Is there any objections to the motion without notice? 1, 2, 3. Agreed to. Thank you. The next delegate who's going to present a motion of without notice, Honourable Makesin.
Thank you, Chairperson. On behalf of the Economic Freedom Fighters, I request the House to note the serious allegation of corruption and bribery level against the Premier of Free State, Mema Queen Letsoaha Matai. Furthermore, to note the allegation including the receipts of the million of rands in tender of bribe of secure on the road construction between Twespruit and Excelsior, luxury vehicle and misuse of public funds. Also, the House to acknowledge that the success or failure of any government depends on the quality of its leaders and the caliber of an official appointed, who opt to be transparent, accountable to their people. Furthermore, the House to acknowledge that one of the reasons that the delay of service delivery in the Free State is the corruption, misuse of public funds, and the general rot which exists within the ruling party at all levels of government. Also, the House to recognize that the Free State province is trapped in a vicious cycle of poverty, underdevelopment, underperforming due to incompetence and directional visionary leaders that have been deployed by the ruling party. Lastly, the House also to recognize that Premier Matai is not fit to be the Premier
We therefore call the House to investigate the allegation and recovery of the misappropriated public funds, and we demand the immediate resignation of Mayor Matria Letwai. I so
Your time
move.
has expired. Delegate, your time has expired. And then, but I want to bring to attention that the motions without notice is a slot which is used to congratulate, to mourn, and then to deal with issues of that nature. They must not be political in nature. So I don't know whether this is going to agree with this motion without notice. You cannot just wave your hand.
Honorable Chair, thank you very much for the opportunity. As we have advised that the motion without notice without motion is not meant for political statement. It's meant to make sure that we correct other issues that are happening in our area. We can look at a lot of things that are happening, car accident, the food poisoning, a lot of things. So I said no.
Thank you, Honorable Ngumalo. So this motion without notice will become an ordinary motion.
Yeah, but Chair, corruption is not political. It happens in our area. It's corruption. Thank you, sir.
Can you take your seat, please? You are not co-chairing here. You are not co-chairing, Honorable. Or the next motion without notice will come from Honorable Maneniso. Over to you, sir. Lady.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Allow me to rise on behalf of the African National Congress that this August House notes with pride the sustained successes of the South African law enforcement agencies in successfully tracking, identifying, and arresting drug mules at the OR Tambo International Airport, believing that these successful arrests are due to enhanced intelligence gathering and coordination, and the effective collaboration of the law enforcement agencies with the BMA. Therefore, salute the National Police Commissioner and his team, the Provincial Commissioner of Police in Gauteng, the leadership of the different law enforcement agencies, and the South African BMA for the job well done. Further calls on provincial police commissioners and the leaders of the BMA in the provinces that share borders with our neighboring countries to intensify efforts against illicit trafficking of drugs and goods on our borders. So I move.
Thank you, Honorable Maneniso. The motion without notice is on the floor. Is there any objection to the motion without notice? None. All right, thank you. So the motion is agreed to. The next delegate who is going to present his motion is Honorable Brett.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I herewith move without notice that this council note that Mrs. Lisa Sini, a professional registered pharmacist of Oyster Bay in the Eastern Cape, built, developed, and now runs the Oyster Bay Healing Centre, a medical facility serving more than 5,800 residents of Umzamawetu and the surrounding farming communities. Note that this clinic was envisioned, planned, built, developed, and operates with private funds sourced by Mrs. Sini herself. Note that this is the only clinic in this rural area for these residents who would have been without any other medical care if it were not for the private initiative of Mrs. Sini. Note that this clinic employs home and community-based carers and provides medical services that range from various medical tests, the distribution of medicine, community wellness, and health awareness and information programs. Note that all these services and medication are privately funded with any financial help from the state. Wherefore, this House congratulates Mrs. Lisa Sini for exceptional, unselfish, and exemplary service to the community and the Eastern Cape. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Press. Is there any objection to this motion without notice? One. So it's agreed to. So the next motion without notice will come from Honorable Brett.
Thank you, Chairperson. I hereby move on behalf of the Freedom Front Plus that this House notes that on 4 September 2024, Vian Sulwald was chosen as TLU SA's Young Farmer of the Year 2024. Further notes that he is a pig farmer from Bella Bella and the first pig farmer to win this prestigious award. Acknowledges his qualifications in economy and business management, hard work, ambition, and passion. Also recognizes the positivity, innovation, and farming expertise of the other finalists, thanks them for their participation and involvement in agriculture, and hereby congratulates Sulwald on his achievement. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Brett. Is there any objection to this motion without notice? So agree to. The next delegate who's going to present her motion is Honorable Aris from the Northwest. I don't see her in the house. 1, 2, 3, 1. The next motion without notice will come from Honorable Ndlovu from Limpopo.
Thanks, Honorable House Chair, Deputy House Chair. I hereby, on behalf of African National Congress, move without notice that the Council knows that today, on the 16th of October, marks the 85th anniversary of the death of one of the first Black women graduate in South Africa and fearless freedom fighter and champion of the struggle for the emancipation of women, particularly African women, Comrade Charlotte Makgomo Manya Matseke. Further, Honorable Deputy House Chair knows that Charlotte Matseke, who was a teacher, social worker, and founder of the Bantu Women's League of South Africa, died in Johannesburg in 1936 at the age of 65. Honorable House Chair, also we must acknowledge the contribution and pioneering role that Charlotte Matseke made in the fight for women's rights, including all of us who are sitting in this house, and education for all in South Africa. I so move.
Honorable Ndlovu, is there any objection to the motion without notice? None. Agree to. The next motion.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I rise on behalf of the African National Congress that this August House condemns the recent mass killing of family members in Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape by criminals, noting that this is one of the emerging organized heinous crimes in the Eastern Cape province and the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Therefore, calls on the Minister of Police and National Police Commissioner to establish a dedicated task team against these killings and the contracted killings across the country. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Feli. Is there any objection to the motion without notice? 1, 2, none. So it's agreed to. The next motion without notice will come from Honorable Mkwele, Limpopo.
Thanks, Honorable House Chair. Allow me to rise on behalf of the African National Congress that this August House note with pride the success and the high-level impact of the recent Provincial Week of the National Council of Provinces. Further note, in particular, the significant attention of the media during this program on the dialogue of the NCOP leadership, provincial legislature, and councillors with our community about the challenges of infrastructure. Believing that this was indeed a truly activist people parliament in action to inform the lives of our people for the better, and therefore we salute the leadership of the National Council of Provinces under the visionary leadership of our chairperson, Honorable Refilio Msweni-Tsipane, and our collective in making this program a success. Further, we further salute the leadership of all political parties represented in this August House for their maturity, Honorable Makesini, and the leadership in rising above narrow party political interest to address the aspiration of our people united in diversity. As we speak, House Chair, the people of Tabazimbi, they are now going to be liberated because of this program. I so move.
Honorable Mkwele, is there any objection to the motion without notice? None, agree to. The next motion without notice will come from Honorable Dangisa Nodata. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Sorry, Honorable Chair, she's on virtual. Oh, okay, I thought you were cutting her.
Even if she's on visual, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, gone. Then the next motion without notice will come from Honorable Sibande from Mpumalanga.
Honorable Chairperson, I hereby move without notice on the behalf of the African National Congress that the House noted that last week, 10th October 2024, the world celebrated World Mental Health Day as declared by the World Health Organization. Also note that this year, World Health Organization is uniting with partners to highlight the vital connection between mental health and work. Further note that it is essential for government employers, the organization which represent workers and employers and other stakeholders responsible for workers' healthy and safety to work together to improve mental health at work, and call on Parliament and government at large to infuse mental health into their health and wellness programs. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Sibande. Is there any objection to the motion without notice? Yes?
I reject.
Right. So the motion will now be turned, the motion without notice will be turned to an ordinary motion. Thank you, Honorable Makisini. The next motion without notice will come from Honorable Mudise. Honorable Mudise, Gauteng. 1, 2,
Greetings
3.
to you, Chair.
All right.
Chair.
All right.
Chairperson, I hear you are counting 3, 2, 1, but I'm here.
You can present your motion without notice, Honorable Mudise.
Thank you, Chair. Greetings to you on behalf of the people of Gauteng. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the Mighty African National Congress that the House note that the Special Investigating Unit, the SIU, on the 15th of October 2024, released its results for the 2023-2024 financial year. Also note that these results stems from the effective investigations, speedy litigations, and recovery processes. Further note that the Special Investigating Unit saved the South African government approximately 8 billion rands in the financial year under review. We've therefore urged the House to applaud the SIU for making a record recovery of funds in an actual cash amounting to 2.2 billion, marking the highest recovery in the SIU's 27-year history. We further encourage the SIU to continue to investigate and litigate without fear or favor. I so move.
To Honorable Mudise, any objection to the motion without notice? 1, 2, none. Agree to. The next motion without notice will come from Honorable S.L. Sitole from the Northwest Bukoni Bupurimo on the visual platform. Honorable Sitole.
Thank you.
Sitole. All right. Over to you,
Thank
sir.
you, Honorable Boss Chair. I would like to give it to Mr. Mabibo to do it because he's in the house. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Sitole. Very unfortunately, the people who are quoting here are not inside the house, so the slot will forfeit the slot. The next one is Honorable Mabilo from Northern Cape. 1, 2, 3, 4, gone. She is not in the house, so he forfeits the slot too. So, honorable members, without further ado, we are coming to the conclusion of the session. When coming to these issues of motions without notice, let us observe the rules as they appear. Rule 93 is very clear that whatever motion without notice are going to present in the House here must be the issue which can be dealt with by a council, the council itself, that is the NCOP. So the members cannot bring issues which must be dealt by the provinces or by the municipalities. And sub-rule F again, sub-rule F also deals with the issue of the respect of the intergovernmental relations. I think that in moving forward, we all got training around the issue of the rules. Let us observe them so that we can have a very robust, peaceful NCOP. So this brings us to the end of this session. The House is adjourned. Thank you.
Recording stopped.